Hi, and welcome back. This is John Ans with Ashtonwood House Concerts, and we are getting ready for our summer Ashtonwood in just barely a week's time on Saturday, July 29th, 6:30. Here, weather permitting, we will be outside and we will be featuring the Eavesdrop Trio. Um, so let's get to know them a little bit better. We'll bring them in and have a little chat.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So anyway, I should just say that obviously we're all very, very thrilled here at Ashtonwood, which is just my house, uh, for the performance next weekend. But I will first admit that I don't know as much about Eavesdrop as I should. I don't know if others out there do as well. So what I would ask is if you guys would first introduce yourself, because all they know about the band is that you're called Eavesdrop. So who you are behind the band name and what you do, and then we'll sort of get into, the rest.
Sounds good. All right, great. Well, I'm Carrie. I sing and I do some percussion, especially when we're a trio. We do a lot of percussion to kind of liven it up. So I'm Laura. I sing, I play guitar, and occasionally stomp box when we're in our trio format as well.
And I'm Kara, and I do vocals and percussion.
Great. So then tell us a little historically, however long back that goes, tell us about, how did Eavesdrop come about? Whether this iteration or the larger band, and I know we're not doing the larger band for the concert, but how does that work? When do you decide, whether it's a full band performance or, things like that?
Well, we started in 2014, but I actually really like how Kara tells the story of how we started. So maybe I'll give it to her.
We started because I met Laura at a performance. We just started singing together, kind of at a pickup gig, and I was like, "Hey, we didn't see a lot of women in the music scene in Northampton, so I was really excited to see her, and we kind of sang together, and it went really well. And we're like, hey, we should try to do something." And she said she played guitar, and I didn't know she played guitar, so we decided to get together. And Laura and Carrie go way back and have been best friends for most of their lives and used to sing together. And so Laura said, hey, I have a third person that might be someone that we could add to the group. And so I actually met Carrie in our first rehearsal, so which we didn't know was a rehearsal, really. We just were trying to figure things out, and ended up being a really awesome group. It worked out.
Yeah, and then from there we decided we wanted to do some open mic nights, just to try some stuff out on people. We did luthiers a couple times and got a really great response, so much so that people started asking us if we had any original music, and at the time we didn't. We were just learning covers. So then we started writing together, and the writing kind of led to the expansion of the band because we wanted to record. So we originally put out a 4-song EP, but beyond that, as we kept writing, we wanted that to grow a little bit and wrote songs that sounded like they might do really well in a full band format. So once we collected enough songs to get an actual full album recorded, we invited the guys to the band.
Great. And so that full band, is it 4 others?
Yes.
And is the full band intact? I mean, if you got called right now for a full band show, everybody's ready to go?
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Good. And is that sort of the sense? I mean, when you get into the studio, it's just 3 people, acoustic, just not the sound that you'd want to sort of do that with? Is that where you need more?
I think it depends. Like, we do still do a lot of trio. We do some trio gigs. Of course, we're playing at your party, but we also do still record some songs more stripped down. So we do kind of stick to our roots all along, even though we do incorporate a lot more full band stuff. It's just, I think it's also like an energy thing. Like with the full band, the energy can get really, really high. You can play, for bigger crowds, and like kind of do some really dancey stuff, which is cool. So I think it kind of depends. We do a lot of full band stuff now, but we do stick to our roots a little bit.
Okay. Well,
Really
and
bring back.
so talking about sticking to your roots, is your repertoire still a combination now, since you've started writing more of covers and original music, or what does a Eavesdrop trio gig look like, or better yet, sound like?
We do a little bit of both. It depends. I think now we've been together for, what did we say, 9 years? So we have enough original music now that we can do a full show that's just originals. In the beginning, it was sort of like we were just playing out and playing the songs that we had, which was a lot of covers and a couple of originals, and that's now flipped, and we do mostly originals and only a couple covers. So which is feels really good and is really exciting. And I think when we do full band versus trio, the difference is sometimes just the song choices. Like Carrie was saying, we can do a little bit more mellow stuff or different things that maybe lend themselves better to more acoustic sound. But if we do full band gigs, we do sometimes things that are a little more rock and roll, or things change too. Like when we do trio gigs, we play a lot more songs because we don't have soloists, and the instrumentation in between. We do a lot of that vocally, so we try to emulate what the instruments do with our vocals, because we are more broke down, and it's really just Laura's guitar as the instrument. So, and our voices. So we use that to an advantage. So we play more songs, and then we arrange them a little differently so that we still are getting that full sound with just one guitar.
Yep.
Sure. So before you started doing a lot of your own writing, what was, I will assume that the things that you played, the things that you covered, were the things that you also liked. So I guess, what was your musical, inspiration may be a little too cliche, but what was the stuff that you liked that drove you to play and then eventually drove you to write more?
I think the things we started with were really things that focused on harmonies, because we sort of have like a natural, like lead, high harmony, low harmony assembly that we kind of started with, where we all kind of stuck to the same parts. And so I think we first started like singing songs that were really strong on vocals so that we could play with that as our instrument, since that's kind of what we were working with at the time. We did like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young was like the first song that we did. And obviously they have many members and many harmonies going on. So I think stuff like that was like a good choice for us.
Yeah, that, and then like the Dixie Chicks, the Waylon Jennies, trying to dive into that stuff a little bit too.
Yeah, and then when we wanted to kind of expand and try to do other songs, that's when we sort of were like, well, we really want to do this Fleetwood Mac song or something that has all these other things going on. And we started to get creative with how to emulate some of the instrumentation in the back by doing some different backgrounds or ways to use our voices. So we're trying to do that a little bit more. But I think when we first started, it was definitely like folk stuff that we were really focusing on, with lots of harmony heavy folk music. And then we kind of branched out into more pop and rock and some R&B stuff even, which was really fun.
Yeah, I think we got braver with our experimentation and like our translation of things, I mean, now you can find us doing pop songs in our trio format, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's funny to look back on some like old videos or some of our first gigs, and you can see just how different it was. We were so nervous, and we were like, and now it's just, we're like, let's just try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
So once you're doing it for almost a decade, the vibe kind of changes with the nerves.
Right. Well, good. So this next topic, I really want to stop asking this question, but I think it's still sort of relevant. And the question is sort of about COVID, right? And so answer this however you want, but how did it affect the band? And obviously I know there's an obvious way you didn't play out much, but I've also heard people say, if it wasn't for COVID, I might not still be singing, because it gave me a chance to focus. It gave me a chance to improve my social media outreach. It gave me a chance to write more, to, whatever it was. There seemed to be some benefits other than being shut down and not performing. So I guess I would put it to you guys. How did COVID affect Eavesdrop?
Yeah, we were actually just kind of talking about this. it allowed us the space to be writing a lot more. And in that time, we actually worked on our second record together. We very safely
Yeah, we had a lot of protocol.
arranged some time in the studio, which was essential for us. That record was essential for us. So we were able to work on that, dedicate time towards that. We were also able to do some live streams to try to connect with fans. And we also put out some videos. Yeah.
Yeah, we did some of that. You know, you saw a lot of those videos over COVID where people were singing together, but were in separate rooms. We did a couple of those. But we also, once the weather was warmer and even when it wasn't, we were outside playing. We were outside wherever anyone would let us play outside. So we were at lots of breweries. We wanted to rehearse, and the only way to rehearse was outside. So we did a lot of rehearsals right out here on Laura's porch, or we did a full band rehearsal, which we made into sort of a performance for the town of East Hampton outside.
Oh, wow.
Here. So, you know, we tried to make the best of it, and we did a lot of outdoor performing, which really helped us keep our chops up and not feel like we were getting out of shape.
Great. Well, I was going to say for our part, you know, we now, well, two things. One, COVID made this little house concert series go to an outdoor performance in the summer, right? That was a, you know, sort of a COVID generated, you know, I couldn't wait any longer, right? So how do we do this? Well, we put people on our deck and we put people on our lawn and we see how that goes. And it went great. And it went so well. We didn't disturb any neighbors, or at least the ones we did were into it. So we kept doing it. And the other thing is, with that very first outdoor concert, we started live streaming as well. So whether that was, you know, good for us or hopefully good for the performers, that there's a little bit more reach than just a small, because let's face it, we're going to be, you know, 25, 30 people. That's a pretty, you know, intimate little, you know, group. And if the live stream helps, you know, spread the word and you know, grow the brand a little bit, then that's great. So that's sort of, you know, how you know, what it did here, and hopefully it's all good. So so God willing and weather permitting, we will be outdoors, and if we're not, we'll be indoors. But so what could without giving away everything, any hints as to what next Saturday will sound like?
It's going to be a good, fun time.
Excellent.
For sure. Yeah, I think like we said before, we try to do, especially for something like a new venue or a place like you guys where you're kind of hearing us for the first time, we'll probably do a good mix of originals and covers. That way people are enjoying the originals, hopefully, with what we've got, but they also can kind of sing along or dance along, or, you know, we like crowd participation, and we'll always cue people for when we want that crowd participation. Right. So people are into that. We love it. We love when people dance. We love that. So you can definitely expect some things that will hopefully get people out of their seats.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, look, we can't wait. We've been I think we've had this on the books for a while, so we've been looking forward to it for a long time, as have our friends and audience members who will be there. So Saturday the 29th, which is next Saturday, 6:30 we'll go live sharp, and we can't wait.
We're looking forward to it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see you in just in a week or so.
All right.
See you then.
Take care.
Thanks.